If there is one thing I wish more women over 60 understood about weak legs, low energy, and that discouraging feeling of not trusting your own body the way you used to, it is this. There is almost never one miracle answer. Not one tea, not one supplement, not one magical ingredient you stir into hot water and suddenly wake up feeling 30 years younger. I know that may not be the dramatic answer the internet loves to give, but it is the truthful one. And at this stage of life, I think truth is far more loving than hype. Because if your legs have been feeling heavier lately, if you tire more easily, if stairs feel more intimidating, if you have noticed you are less steady or less confident on your feet, that does not automatically mean your body is simply old now and there is nothing to be done. And it also does not mean one drink will solve everything. What it often means is that your body needs better support, better nourishment, better circulation, better recovery, better sleep, less inflammation, more consistent use of your muscles, more kindness than punishment, and yes, a daily tea ritual can absolutely be part of that support. That is the conversation I want to have with you tonight. Not fantasy, not fear, support. Because weak legs are not just about muscles. They are about independence. They are about being able to get up from the chair without bracing yourself. They are about walking through a grocery store without feeling drained halfway through. They are about climbing the stairs with more confidence. They are about balance, dignity, freedom, and trust in your own body. I care so much about this because I know how painful it is when the body begins to feel less familiar. When I went through the worst of my own perimenopausal unraveling in my early 50s, the thing that shook me most was not just the weight gain or the anxiety or the broken sleep. It was the feeling that my body was no longer responding the way it used to. I felt less steady in myself, less resilient, less forgiving. And once you have felt that, you understand that strength is not vanity, it is peace. So let us talk about 3 teas that may genuinely support women in this season of life when used wisely and consistently. Not because they are miracle cures, because they can help create a body that feels more supported, more comfortable, and more able to rebuild. The first is ginger and turmeric tea. Now, this is one I genuinely love, not because it rebuilds muscle directly in the way a weight training session and adequate protein do, but because it can help with one of the things that often keeps women from moving enough to protect their strength in the first place: discomfort, inflammation, stiffness, that achy, heavy feeling in the knees, hips, and legs that makes every bit of movement feel like more effort than it should. For many older adults, the problem is not only that the muscles are weaker, the problem is that the body hurts enough that movement begins to shrink. And once movement shrinks, strength shrinks too. Then balance gets shakier, confidence drops, and the body slowly becomes less capable because it is being used less. This is why I think ginger and turmeric tea can be such a lovely ally. Ginger has long been used to warm the body and support circulation. Turmeric is well known for its anti-inflammatory compounds. Together, they can create a simple, soothing ritual that helps a woman feel a little less stiff and a little more willing to move. And sometimes that is the doorway. Not dramatic transformation, just enough relief that you finally take the walk. Just enough comfort that you do the leg exercises you have been avoiding. Just enough ease that getting out of the chair feels more natural. That matters. I also like this tea because it feels grounding. It asks nothing extreme of you. A few slices of ginger, some turmeric, hot water, maybe a pinch of black pepper, a little lemon if you like, a little honey if that suits your body. It is not expensive. It is not glamorous. It is a quiet act of care. And there is something important in that. I think women over 60 are often told to fix themselves with huge, dramatic changes. But so much healing comes from small, steady, loving things repeated often enough. The second tea I want to talk about is green tea, sometimes with ginseng. And this is where I want to be balanced, because the internet often treats green tea as though it is a superhero in a mug. I do not talk that way. But I do think green tea can be genuinely helpful for some women because it offers a smoother kind of lift than coffee, a gentler alertness, a steadier energy, less of that spike and crash feeling. Why does that matter for leg strength? Because sometimes weakness is not only weakness, sometimes it is fatigue. It is the body feeling too tired to move enough to stay strong. It is the walk that gets skipped because energy feels thin. It is the strength routine that never happens because the whole day already feels like too much. So if a warm cup of green tea helps you feel a little sharper, a little lighter, a little more willing to move, that can matter more than people realize. Ginseng lives in a similar category for me. I do not think of it as a miracle root. I think of it as something that some people find supportive for stamina and resilience. That may be especially useful for older adults who feel that their energy is always running low and their body never quite feels ready for movement. Do you see the pattern here? The tea is not doing the whole job. The tea is supporting the body so you can do the things that preserve strength. That is a much wiser framework, because if a woman feels a little more mentally awake, a little more physically supported, and a little less dragged down by her afternoons, she is more likely to walk, more likely to stand up more often, more likely to do the small daily things that keep leg strength from slipping away. That is where so much real change lives. Not in one dramatic intervention, in daily behavior that becomes possible again. Now, I do want to say clearly that green tea is not for everyone. Some women are very sensitive to caffeine. Some notice it worsens anxiety. Some have reflux. Some find it affects sleep. And if sleep suffers, that is not a good trade. So please do not force yourself into a habit just because it is healthy. A supportive ritual should fit your body. It should not make your body fight harder. That kind of self-respect matters more than following every wellness trend. The third tea is ashwagandha tea, and I think this one deserves a mature conversation too, because people hear the word adaptogen and either expect magic or dismiss it entirely. I sit somewhere quieter than that. I think some women may find ashwagandha supportive, especially when weakness is tangled up with stress, poor sleep, nervous system overload, and that worn down feeling that comes from living too long in survival mode. Because here is something I wish more people understood. A body does not rebuild well when it feels unsafe all the time. If stress is high, sleep is broken, recovery is poor, and the nervous system is always on alert, muscles do not get the full chance to repair. Energy feels flat. Motivation disappears. Inflammation often feels louder. The body becomes less resilient. So when I think about something like ashwagandha tea, I do not think this will build your legs. I think this may help support the kind of calm and recovery that make rebuilding possible. That is different. And it is more honest. If a woman drinks it in the evening and finds that she sleeps a little better, settles a little more deeply, wakes a little less frazzled, then that can help everything else. Better sleep helps recovery. Better recovery helps strength. Better nervous system balance helps a woman feel more capable of showing up for her body. And at this stage of life, that matters enormously. Because weak legs are not always a simple muscle issue. Sometimes they are the final expression of years of stress, undereating, poor sleep, pain, sitting too much, and never really restoring. That is why I never want women blaming themselves when they feel weaker. Sometimes the body has been depleted, not neglected on purpose, but depleted all the same. And that brings me to the most important part of this entire conversation. If your legs feel weak, tired, or less steady, tea alone is not the plan. It is part of the plan. The full plan also includes protein. I am going to keep saying this because women over 60 need to hear it more than they do. Muscle needs building material. Your body cannot maintain strong legs on toast, coffee, soup, and a hopeful attitude. It needs actual nourishment. It needs enough protein across the day. It needs meals that support muscle instead of barely getting you through the afternoon. It also needs movement, not punishment, not boot camp, not pain for the sake of pain, but regular use of the body, getting up from the chair without using your hands when you can, walking, gentle strength training, heel raises at the counter, sit to stands, balance practice, climbing stairs if appropriate for your body, physical therapy if you need guidance. Muscle stays when it is used, and it leaves when it is not asked to help. That truth is not cruel, it is empowering, because it means you can rebuild more than you think. And sleep matters too. If you are waking all night, running on stress hormones, and dragging yourself through the day, that affects your strength more than many people realize. Recovery happens in rest. Hormones are regulated in rest. Tissue repair happens in rest. A body that never really rests never fully rebuilds. This is why I love the idea of tea as ritual. Not because tea fixes everything, because it can become the gentle structure around which better habits begin. A warming ginger turmeric tea in the morning that helps you ease into movement. A green tea earlier in the day that gives you a little steady lift for your walk or errands. An evening ashwagandha ritual, if it suits your body and your clinician has no concerns, that helps you settle into deeper rest. That is a beautiful thing, not magic, support. I also want to say something very important before we go further. Weak legs can sometimes signal a medical issue that deserves real evaluation. Low iron, B12 deficiency, thyroid changes, circulation problems, nerve issues, medication side effects, blood sugar problems, arthritis, heart issues, deconditioning after illness. If your weakness is sudden, worsening quickly, tied to numbness, swelling, repeated falls, significant pain, or shortness of breath, that is not the moment for tea alone. That is the moment to check in with a doctor. There is wisdom in natural support, and there is wisdom in knowing when you need more than that. Both matter. But for the woman listening tonight who simply feels older, more tired, more achy, less steady, and wants to begin caring for herself better, I think tea can be one of the softest, kindest places to begin, because ritual matters. A warm cup says pause. A warm cup says we are taking care of the body now. A warm cup can become the moment where you decide to stop dismissing your own needs. And after a lifetime of caring for everyone else, that matters more than most women realize. You have spent your whole life caring for others. It is time to care for yourself. And sometimes that care starts not with a dramatic reinvention, but with a kettle on the stove, a better breakfast, a short walk, and the decision to stop treating weakness as inevitable. Age is just the beginning, my love. Vibrant doesn't have an age limit. And if your legs have been feeling heavy, tired, or less trustworthy lately, I hope this reminds you of something important. Your body is not necessarily failing. It may be asking for a wiser kind of support. A little less punishment, a little more nourishment, a little more circulation, a little more movement, a little more recovery, a little more patience. One cup, one walk, one better meal, one earlier bedtime, one loving choice at a time. That is how steadiness returns. That is how confidence returns. And very often, that is how strength returns too.